Thank you very much. Man, NC State. I could not be happier and more proud for you guys. I had not been back in 10 years, and I got the opportunity to come back in February and speak to a group of undergraduates about the idea of going to grad school, which is quite a good idea, so I'm really glad to see all you in the front wearing that color. And I hadn't, when I left the campus at when I left the school, the campus at Centennial was one building. And so you can imagine my surprise when they're showing me around, and it's just the most incredible facility I've ever seen. I think it's got to be the best value in education that you could possibly find. And the neat thing about that is that you're going to be measured by your degree for the rest of your life. And I think the stock of NC State is going to go up and up and up. So it's always been well regarded as an engineering school, but I think the things that your dean, your department chair, your faculty, taxpayers, parents, you name it, have done to put this place where it is today is just remarkable. And it's still the very first thing I look for on somebody's resume, even if they've got 20 years of experience, is where did they go to school. So I'm really happy for you in that regard. So I'm going to give you the disclaimer that lots and lots of people are going to give you advice at any transition in your career. I guess I'm one of them. One of the things I'll say, though, is I'm just telling you my experience and a few tidbits of advice that I think might be useful to you. But like all advice or books or anything else, you're lucky if 10 or 20% of it is useful to you. So which part of this is useful to you is left as an exercise to the reader. So I figured I better learn what I was supposed to say, and they told me I had about 10 to 15 minutes, and then they told me today that the record was an hour and a half, so I promised to not do that to you. So I watched a couple videos on YouTube, and there's a lot of people that would advise you that you should do what you love, and that's nice if what you love is a good idea. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that are playing guitar on the subway for spare change that did what they love, and they don't invite those people to speak here. So it's kind of a self-selected thing there. I think that those people probably would have told you to pay more attention in DSP class. So the thing that I think is more the case is it's a matter of loving what you do, which is a bit of a mindset issue more than anything else. And I think you're incredibly fortunate that you picked engineering because unlike all the articles that you read about in the New York Times about some poor person who's just spent a ton of money getting a degree and now they can't find a job, you didn't get a degree in that. So you've made it this far. You're probably pretty good at it. You're going to get paid basically to solve puzzles of some sort or another, which is really fine work if you can get it. And I would just encourage you that you should throw yourself into that with reckless abandon, and you'll be just fine. One of my mentors when I first joined Cirrus told me that if you think about your learning as a filter of some sort, maybe your increase in knowledge is going to go up on average about 20 dB per decade. Sorry parents, that was one for the engineers. But if you work really, really hard at the first part of your career, maybe you can do 40 dB per decade for a couple of years. You can't sustain that. It's gonna flatten out. But when it flattens back out, you're still going to be growing at the same pace as everybody else that you're the same, right around the same bracket of, and you're going to be ahead of them for the rest of your life. It actually served me pretty well. So I bet all of your life, everybody's told you that right now is about when it's about to get serious. When you went from elementary school to junior high, now it's going to get difficult, and the competition is going to get more challenging. The same thing with high school to college. You know what? I think every transition, it's been serious and it's been real, and you've been just fine. When I joined Cirrus, there was another new grad that joined my same group who was from MIT. And when I was a little bit intimidated by that, maybe a little bit jealous of where he went to school. And as time went on, we both did just fine. And through a combination of hard work and good choices and good luck, I've had just a career that has shocked what I would. It wasn't that I didn't think I could have accomplished what I have done so far, but I didn't know it existed. It's really pretty remarkable. So the couple of takeaways that I would give you from that is, and the other guy, by the way, has been really successful as well, The other takeaway I would give you is that there's lots of other people that are going to be successful, and that doesn't necessarily come at your expense. I think society all the time of late has been really, it's always kind of an us versus them scenario, and I would encourage you to not approach your career that way. Be happy for other people when stuff goes their direction. The other thing I'll bet everybody's told you is that these are the best years of your life. You know, our parents, every day was Kids Day, and certainly everybody told you that college was the best years of your life and you should enjoy them. They were a little bit right on that one, so I hope you did. But they were a little bit right about every one of those years, and that's true going forward as well. I just am amazed how much fun it just continues to be, and I think our profession that you've chosen is a big part of that. It's an incredibly satisfying thing to do for a living. Truly, though, your life is about to get more complicated. You know, you're gonna get your first job, or maybe you're gonna go to grad school on the way there. But pretty soon, you're gonna get your first real job. You're gonna buy a house. You're gonna buy a car. Since this is America, you're probably gonna have some debt that goes with that. You're gonna have a spouse and kids, and I would say enjoy every minute of that, but don't be in a big hurry to get through all those things. There's a somewhat famous psychology experiment where they give kids a marshmallow, and the adult tells the kid, you can eat that, I'm going to leave, I got to go do something. You can eat that marshmallow if you want, but I'll be back shortly, and if you still have the marshmallow, you can have 2 marshmallows. And in theory, at least, this experiment predicts pretty well that the kids that don't eat the marshmallow while the adult is gone and wait and get 2 marshmallows, it's actually a pretty good predictor of how well they do in life, whether they're able to delay gratification. It's one of the really interesting things about us as people, is we're one of the only animals that can do that. So you've already gotten a degree in engineering from a great school, so you've passed on your share of marshmallows so far, because that was not an easy thing to do. It's okay to enjoy one now and again, and I would highly encourage you to do so, but the longer, you know, as you go through these next couple of years, the longer you can hold out on keeping your life simple, as you suddenly move to making more money than in a year than you probably made cumulatively, you'll be able to get ahead in a big hurry. So keep your life simple and as debt-free or debt-reasonable as possible for as long as you can, and you'll be surprised how quickly you get ahead. There's this is the only part where I'm going to give you some real specific advice, and you're not going to like it. So there's a few skills I think you really need to pick up. Specifically, you need to be able to formulate your thoughts into a 5-paragraph essay. I know that's not why you went to engineering school. And you should be able to make a presentation to a large group of people without getting really nervous about it. As it happens, the number 1 phobia in America is public speaking. Number 2 is death. So you're better off you're in the box than giving the eulogy. You know, like I say, it's not why you went into engineering, but it's not why anyone else went into engineering either, and it'll make you stand out that much more. The people that are good at it got good at it because they practiced. There's a lot of opportunities to practice. There were in college. There will be going forward, whether it's Toastmasters or anything else. Figure out how to do those 2 things, and you'll be surprised the impact it'll have. Nothing will move your career forward as quickly as being able to formulate your thoughts and express them to other people. So one of the funny things that you'll experience in moving to a job is from the whole time we were in kindergarten all the way through today, working closely with other people and sharing your results was called cheating, and they generally frown on it. The minute that you get a job, the only thing that matters is, does the team that you're a part of succeed? I mean, our individual efforts and abilities matter and obviously have a big impact on whether the team wins or not. But that's the only thing at the end of the day that anybody rewards is whether the team won. It's no fun to be the best player on a team that loses or a company that's going nowhere. Some people, and I would say some people just have a magical ability to be part of a team and move it forward. Whether anybody works for them or not, they just facilitate everyone around them doing better. And like speaking or writing, it's one of those things that you get better at when you practice. Again, there were lots of opportunities when you're in school. If you're moving on to grad school, you should double down on taking opportunity when you find it. But even for everybody graduating, there's all sorts of things that you can get involved in your career, in your community, that'll really add to your life. The other thing that's different between your job and college is that once you get a job, if you look around the team of people around you and you're the smartest person in the room, that's nowhere near as good of a thing as it was when you were taking classes. So most of us picked engineering before we had any idea what our jobs were going to look like. I had no earthly idea. I liked physics in high school, so I picked electrical engineering, and it turned out to be a really lucky guess. But the fortunate thing for all of us is that engineering is not at all a narrow choice. When I accepted my first circuit design job, I was pretty excited about it. It turned out I had no earthly idea what it was I was supposed to be doing. When I got there, I was well prepared with a good toolkit and was able to dive in and figure it out. But I didn't know what my job was, and I certainly never anticipated that I would move into marketing. And I think I knew CEOs existed, but I certainly never aspired to be one. So the cool thing is that engineering is a platform that you can do anything from. The abilities that you've learned here to think and solve problems apply, I don't care what field it is. It's really a remarkable thing, and I think if you approach it with enthusiasm and energy, you're going to be really delighted with how things go. And all your buddies over in Chapel Hill who went to business school and ate the marshmallow will be working for you someday. I'm going to interject one quick thing. A friend of mine that was my roommate in college, his son went off to engineering school a couple years ago, and he hit Circuits 1 last fall and promptly hit a panic, and this doesn't make any sense, and et cetera. So I called him up and gave him the lecture about Shams outlines and all the usual stuff that you do to get through Circuits 1. And he said, but I've got this instructor, and he doesn't speak English. He's a grad student. I can't understand a word he said. And I said, well, you know what, my friend? You have chosen a career where the one thing I can guarantee you is it doesn't matter what part of the world you're from, you're going to be working with lots of people from other parts of the world. And they are, whether you're an American or from China or from India or wherever it is, you're going to be working with a ton of people that don't speak the same language you were born speaking or grew up speaking. And it's really, really important to be able to figure out what they're talking about. So figure out how to read body language, hang on every syllable, use your brain's DSP to interpolate between what they're saying. But it's a critical part of what you're going to do going forward is working with people from all around the world. So let me wrap this up. I wanted to note that the Dalai Lama once said that the purpose of life is happiness. The purpose of life is to be happy. The guy is really smart and really well known. You'd think he could be a little more specific. But my mentor and the founder of Cirrus, Mike Hackworth, who changed our industry an absolute ton, had a huge impact, once told me that his definition of morale in the workplace is having a meaningful and worthwhile goal, a reasonable plan to achieve the goal, and being able to measure yourself making progress according to the plan. Meaningful goal, reasonable plan, measure yourself. I think that's applicable to morale in the workplace. I think it's applicable to happiness in life. It's the pursuit of our goals that gives us fulfillment, makes us happy. Often as not, once you actually get there, you kind of look around and go, now what? That's really what I was doing. But if you are able to, I lost where I was. Oh yeah. So figure out where you want to go. Make a reasonable plan to get there. And life is often what happens in between our plans. So adapt and improvise and overcome when you encounter obstacles or changes that are needed to that plan. And then somewhere along the way, figure out who you want to have, whose company you want to have while you're on the trip. I think that's a pretty good recipe for success in your career. I think it's a great recipe for happiness in your life. I want to thank you for this opportunity to talk to you today. And I hope your time here at NC State serves you as well as it has me. Thank you.